Far in the heart of West Africa, before the arrival of books, radios, and schools, the people passed their knowledge through spoken words. Villages had no libraries, towns had no written archives, but they had something powerful: the griots, called jelly by the Mandinka people. These were men and women who memorized the history of empires, the bravery of warriors, the names of ancestors, and the laws of the land. A griot was the voice of the past, speaking for the dead and guiding the living. They used music, poetry, storytelling, and proverbs to teach and entertain. They were also musicians, skilled in instruments like the kora, the balafon, and the ngoni. The tradition of griots started over 800 years ago, and it still continues today. One of the most important names in griot history is Balla Fasséké Kouyaté. He lived during the 13th century, during the time of the legendary Sundiata Keita, the founder of the Mali Empire. Balla Fasséké was chosen by the king to serve as Sundiata's personal griot, even when Sundiata was just a crippled boy. He was more than a singer. He was a guide, a teacher, and a spiritual motivator. Balla told Sundiata stories of his royal bloodline, of his father Nare Magan Konfata, and the prophecy that Sundiata would one day become a great king. These stories strengthened Sundiata's spirit, even when others laughed at him for being unable to walk. When war came and Sundiata rose to fight against Sumaoro Kante, Balla Fasséké stood beside him, singing songs of courage and recalling the ancestors who had conquered before. Later, when Sundiata became emperor, Balla Fasséké and his descendants, the Kouyaté family, were given the honor of royal griots, forever tied to the Keita dynasty. Even today, the Kouyaté family of griots continues to tell the epic of Sundiata over 800 years later. Griots were not just found in Mali. They served in the Empire of Ghana, the Songhai Empire, and even the Wolof and Serer kingdoms of Senegal and Gambia. They were advisors to kings, mediators in family disputes, and historians of the people. When families disagreed over inheritance or land, they did not go to court. They called the griot. The griot would recall the family's past. Your grandfather gave this land to his third son. His name was Juma. Juma married the daughter of the blacksmith, and they had 2 children. The griot's words were trusted because their memory was stronger than stone. In some cultures, griots were the only people allowed to speak directly to the king, especially when reminding him of his duties or ancestors. They were not servants, but respected guardians of truth. One of the most famous griot families is the Diabaté family of Mali. They trace their lineage back more than 70 generations, with each generation passing down the art of storytelling and music to the next. In the 20th century, Sidiki Diabaté became known as the king of the kora. In 1970, he recorded the first kora album in history, keeping the ancient instrument alive in the modern world. His son, Toumani Diabaté, continued the tradition. Born in 1965 in Bamako, Mali, Toumani was already a master of the kora by the age of 5. He carried the memory of his ancestors, not in books, but in songs. Through international concerts and albums, Toumani brought the voice of the griots to the world, performing with artists from Spain, India, and America, but always telling stories rooted in Africa. He once said, "Every note I play is a word from my ancestors." In Senegal and Gambia, griots are known as guel or jali. They sing at weddings, naming ceremonies, and funerals. They remember praise names and family histories going back hundreds of years. One famous griot singer is Youssou N'Dour, who began his career singing griot poetry before becoming an international music star. Another is Sona Jobarteh of the Gambia, born in 1983. She is a female master of the kora, which is rare because kora playing was traditionally passed from father to son. Sona is from the Jobarteh griot family, one of the oldest griot dynasties in West Africa. Through her music, she tells stories of African pride, justice, and cultural rebirth. Her song, Gambia, celebrates the beauty of her homeland and calls her people to remember their history. Though griots are often imagined as men, women also played powerful roles in oral tradition. They are known as griottes. They sang at childbirths, circumcision ceremonies, funerals, and royal events. Their voices healed hearts and reminded people of their place in the world. One of the most respected griottes was Amy Koita, born in Mali in 1956. Her voice was strong, her knowledge deep, and her memory sharp. Through her songs, she preserved oral poetry, family histories, and wisdom that would have been lost. She became a national icon in Mali and across West Africa. She sang not for fame, but to keep the ancestors alive through voice. During the colonial period, many griots were pushed aside. The French and British rulers brought written records and foreign education systems. Some griots were looked down upon. Some were forced to sing only at parties. Their sacred role was turned into entertainment. But many griots held on. They remembered, even when no one was listening. After independence in the 1960s, a revival began. People realized that books could be burned, but a griot's memory could not be erased. Governments began to honor griots again. Cultural festivals invited them to perform. Universities began to study their songs. Some were recorded and archived for the first time. Today, griots are still alive. They may wear jeans instead of robes. They may use microphones instead of wooden drums, but they still carry the stories. In Mali, Guinea, Senegal, and Gambia, you will still find families like Kouyaté, Diabaté, Jobarteh, and Chisoko, keeping the tradition alive. In a world of short memory, the griot remains a long voice. A modern proverb now says, Google knows facts, but the griot knows truth. And so, the griots speak, reminding Africans and the world that history is not just dates and kings, but songs, names, families, and the beating of drums under the African sun.